Welcome back, everyone. I can't quite believe it, but it's the last session of the Midlands UK Forum for Growth. What a fantastic 3 days we've had. And we welcome back, of course, Sir John Peace, who is chairman of the Midlands Engine. Now, Sir John, you have interviewed a number of leading figures over the last 3 days. Now the tables are turned, and I get to ask you a couple of questions. So to start with, we have had some inspiring sessions these last 3 days, presentations, discussions, etc. Now we come to the end of the Midlands UK Forum for Growth. Have we met our ambitious goals and has our expectations been filled?
We certainly have, Lee. We've exceeded my expectations anyway, and I just would say thank you to everybody involved. But I was just watching that very short clip, the VT, just before you and I started to come on air.
Mm.
It's inspiring, isn't it? It's just amazing. And these
Incredible.
3 days, the ground that we've covered, the things we've showcased, the people who have given amazing presentations. And I can remember how disappointed we all felt back in March earlier this year with the cancellation of MIPIM, and even now there's doubt over MIPIM 2021. So given we've pioneered here, again an example of Midlands pioneering, to put on this 3 day event, which I think has been fantastic. And this morning, when you began the third day's sessions, and you came out with those statistics and you talked about almost 600 people attending the 3 day conference. You talked about country people coming from, or the audience coming from Japan, China, India, Kuwait, Israel, Dubai, Europe, etc. Oh, that was amazing. And then throughout the conference, trending at number 3 on Twitter, UK Twitter, all week. So how could that not enable me to exceed my expectations? Did it exceed yours, Lee?
Absolutely. No, it was really fantastic. And I think I'm going to ask you to give me your highlights. There's certainly quite a few highlights that I've got. But what are your personal highlights, Sir John?
Oh, that's very difficult, isn't it? It's certainly hard to pick out any particular session, but I
Mm.
have to say I just watched the Women in Leadership in the Midlands
Absolutely.
session. Wow, what a session that was! That was fantastic. And I've had the privilege of working my business career with some of the most successful women in business in the world. Angela Ahrens,
Mm.
for example, who left me at Burberry and went on to Apple. She was hugely successful. But the one thing I always knew, it was on merit. It was on merit because she, like many other women in leadership, do it because they're damn good at what they do. But if I may, Lee, can I just give you a few examples I've jotted down, which perhaps illustrate the scope and quality of all the presentations? And
Lovely.
certainly
Yes,
I could have
please.
spoken for 10 minutes about these, and I'm sure you could. But day one, of course, the theme was growth. So I watched the Birmingham Health Innovation Campus, which will lead the delivery of medical innovation in our region. How topical is that now, given this pandemic? Loughborough University Science and Enterprise Park, the largest in the UK, creating 14,000 jobs and a GVA of over £900 million. And of course, then the East Midlands Development Corporation, which will ultimately result in almost 5,000 housing units, 84,000 jobs, and over 4 billion of additional GVA, making the East Midlands one of the most investable regions in the country. Day two, of course, the theme was collaboration. And I thought we were ready for that. We were all coming together with different backgrounds, different parts of the world, and collaboration was spot on as a theme. And examples of that, and certainly the partnership, the collaboration between the public and private sector partnerships are going to be so important as we navigate our way through this and out of this pandemic. And I would comment on the West Midlands 5G. This is Europe's #1 region for 5G technology and innovation. Warwickshire, the Cadent Gas announcement on a 90,000 feet headquarters opening in 2022. Derby Infinity Park, which will lead the way in high-tech manufacturing. Where do you stop? Wow. And then, of course, today, the theme, future, the future. The Midlands is always about the future. And there are two things in particular I really do want to mention again, which is, of course, the legacies which will come from Coventry City of Culture in 2021, very soon now, and of course the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in 2022. And the benefits they'll bring to our region will be enormous. But finally, I'd like to just say a particular thank you to the wonderful people I had the pleasure and privilege of interviewing. Chris Oglesby and Bill Hughes from Bruntwood and Legal and General Investment Management. And again, great examples of collaboration together to create something which I think is going to be very special. And then, of course, talking with Carolyn Donaldson from the West Coast Partnership Development. And that, of course, is going to be vital as we look to the future with High Speed 2 on the West Coast. But then this morning, I'm still a banker at heart in many ways. I had the opportunity to interview my good friend Ian Stewart of HSBC. Now, when Ian and I get talking, I tell you, to condense that into 15 minutes is nigh on impossible. But it was a very enjoyable interview, and I think given yesterday the Chancellor made his announcements on the spending review, it couldn't have been more timely.
No, absolutely fantastic. We've loved these last 3 days, and I totally agree. I've interviewed Bill Hughes before myself, and he is superb, and that was absolutely fantastic session. Loved it. So, at the start on day one, we started and you said, there's 17.6 billion pounds worth of investment across the Midlands. Well, we've got an audience here of international investors. So what would your message be to them in particular?
Well, first of all, if you'd have come to any of these sessions in MIPIM in March, back earlier this year, I think at that stage we were only showcasing 11 billion of investments. So you can see the growing ambition that we have as a region, because we were talking today about over 17 billion. And I can't think of a better part of the country than here in the Midlands to make an investment when you consider it's the biggest economic area outside of London, when you look at almost 11 million people, some of the great global brands that are headquartered here. And I've already mentioned HSBC, but I could have talked about JCB, Rolls-Royce, Bombardier, Toyota, fantastic opportunities here. And what was that statistic? 22% of all England's exports are from the Midlands. So, we're rather key to economic recovery. But the other thing I like, and you can see just how socially responsible we feel here, is the focus on young people, joblessness and skills and training and all the things we have to do to not just make this the best place to come and do business, but also the best place to come and live and raise a family and to learn new skills, to go to university, to go to school. Wonderful place.
Absolutely. So what are the next steps for the Midlands? So if we were going to hold this 1 year on, so next year, what would you like to see next year on this conference? What will happen over this next 12 months for the Midlands?
Well, I think over the course of the next 12 months, we're going to see at the beginning of next year, the vaccines arrive. There's light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the health crisis, the health emergency that we're going through. But I asked, as I'm sure you know, Ian Stewart a similar question. Tell me, Ian, I said to him, tell me about 2021. Tell me about the next 2 to 3 years. And here and I are completely aligned. I think if the government, by investing in the Midlands, by the Midlands having the confidence and the innovation and enterprise spirit that it clearly has, we have the ability to get onto the front foot, to drive economic growth, to create jobs and prosperity. And I think it's that confidence that's going to matter so much as we enter the new year and beyond, if we're to succeed as a region. And I have no doubt we have that in spades in the Midlands.
No, absolutely. And this has clearly been an absolute, it's a partnership event. And we came together at the beginning with some really ambitious goals, as I said. And it's been great to embrace these forward thinking destination partners, private and public sectors come together. It's been absolutely fantastic. And our audience, as we say, over the 3 days has grown and is worldwide. I mean, it's a fantastic exemplar. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the people that have booked on, that have been listening over the 3 days, the organizations that have been involved? Is there anything else you'd like to add, Sir John?
I would please, Leigh, and I would like to say a very big thank you. I'd like to say a very big thank you to our Midlands Engine Partnership, the towns, the cities, the universities and businesses who have come together in an incredible way and without whom none of this, frankly, would have been possible. And including a special mention to the MIPIM steering group who have supported this from its inception. Our partners really are at the heart of everything that we do, collaboration. To our speakers and to our panelists for their hard work in preparing presentations and for their insights. You know, Leigh, you and I can say just how nerve-wracking it can be sat in that green room where Colin's there saying, I'll give you the countdown. And I had with
And we
Ian this
can't
morning.
see each other then. We can't see
I
each other then, Sir
know,
John. At
I
least we can
know,
see each other now, can't we? It's
we
marvellous.
can. We can. But when he told me this morning, when in the interview with Ian, that he could only go as far as 5 and I would have to do the rest, I got a bit even more nervous then. But I made it down to 0. And I would also like, of course, to thank the UK government and Minister Graham Stewart in particular for showing such commitment to the Midlands and to the levelling up agenda, which we all support. Thank you to our sponsors, Avinson Young and Arcadis, and our data partners, CoStar, to movers and shakers in the Midlands Engine team for organising, and we would all like to be meeting in person, but I think this virtual platform, I think it's here to stay. I think it will always be a combination of both the virtual world and the meeting in person. Um, but of course, I've got to say a huge thank you to the audience, to all those people in our region and nationally, internationally, to our stakeholders and investors. Thank you all so much for supporting the Midlands.
No, thank you. I completely concur. And it'd be good at this point actually to remind the audience that they can carry on networking on this platform. It doesn't end now. And tomorrow we'll have today's content uploaded. So these 3 days will be on the platform and you'll be able to come back and to revisit and to watch back, all of this content and carry on networking. It's all about connections. We've talked so much about partnerships. So keep on networking, keep on talking to each other. And we'll make sure the sessions are there for you to view, and the exhibition booths. We've got 50 booths, so do go and visit those. But thank you so much once again to our audience, to our sponsors. Is Sir John there to give some concluding remarks?
I am, Leigh, and
Are you back there? So I lost you for a second there,
what
but
you
I would
have to
like you
do.
to have.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Leigh.
I was going
What
to
I
say
was
I'd
just
like you to have the concluding remarks. I think, Sir John, it's over to you for the last few lines.
thank you, Leigh, and I must remember next time we do this to switch the do not disturb signal off on my phone. But nonetheless, I've now dealt with that. And what would I like everyone to leave today thinking about? Because this is really just the first stage, and we're going to be in the coming months reaching out to markets across the world, including in Europe, Asia, and North America, and use this material that we've pulled together in these 3 days to promote the Midlands to an even wider audience of global investors. And of course, the theme for this Forum for Growth has been the future ours to make. And I truly believe this is the case. And whilst we're in the depths of turmoil, the pandemic, and at the end of the EU transition period, faced with uncertainty, there are things that we can be certain about. What are those things? Our region will continue to go from strength to strength. That all of us who have taken part over these 3 days will continue to champion our region on the national and on the global stage. That we have an opportunity now to step back and reassess where we are and where we want to be, to reshape our future and build back stronger better and greener. And as I said in my opening speech on Tuesday, this event is only the start. So let me once more, as we close the Midlands UK Forum for Growth and look forward, £17 billion worth of tangible investment opportunities. The Midlands really does have huge potential, and the future really is ours to make. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being with us.